Hello, welcome to Africa is Home. Let's begin with the state of the continent. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, the rebels have attacked the city of Goma, killing dozens. In Sudan, the pro-democracy and anti-democracy are still protesting over who is going to govern the country. The human rights have tweeted that the Cameroonian government has the responsibility of providing security to the players during AFCON games. In Ethiopia, the crisis is still going on, reports saying that the National Army has captured back some of the cities. Now, today we are going to talk to you about the economy of Africa. See, Africa is a sovereign state. Africa is a continent of 54 sovereign states, a continent of 1.3 billion people, a continent with Today we are going to talk to you about the economy of Africa. See, Africa is a continent of 54 sovereign states, blessed with natural resources, a continent of 1.3 billion people. See, after colonization in the late 1950s and 1960s, the colonial masters left the continent of Africa, but there is one country that has never left Africa: France. There's also another new kid in the block who has submerged into Africa: China. These two countries are holding Africa back. Welcome to the Africa is Home. My name is Jean-Paul. Tonight we're going to talk to you about why Africa is not still developed. And here with me today is the co-founder of Africa is Home, Platini.
Hi.
And our honorable guest, Peter. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today. So let me begin with you, Platini. Yeah. As we look at the Francophone African countries, what France is still doing, these are independent countries.
Absolutely.
Still being controlled under France. What is your take on that?
Honestly, I feel like we are past due. Yeah, we have passed that point where we really need our total independence from France, because look at it, our money is still being printed in France. We still have a lot of colonial tax that we pay every year to France. Our trades still go through France before they get to most of the French African countries. And it's about time we put an end to that.
And Peter, when you look at the economy mainly in the Francophone African country, we're talking Cameroon, Gabon, Ghana, Togo, etc. The economy is still being controlled by France today. What is your take on that? These are sovereign, independent countries.
Yeah. Thank you, JP. Thank you, Platini. And it's always an amazing experience to be back on set here to talk about the things that matter. Talking about the continent we love dearly, and talking about bringing that sentiment of, I don't want to say continental patriotism, and having that love for Africa and taking that love across the continent as well. So it's always a pleasure to be here. Thank you again. And it's always very complex. All the issues that we try to talk about here, they are never cut straight answers. They are not things we could just say yes and no to, because they are always in between the lines. There are always gray zones to those questions. There's no way you can say that the economy in each of those countries is owned by the French, for instance. And at the same time, you cannot say it's owned by the locals or the country per se. Right. So it's always that in-between line that needs to be solved. That's actually where the problem is at. But before we even talk about that, it's good we kind of revisit how we even got to this situation to really understand how things went. Yeah, right. Definitely. Historically, yep. So we if we're talking about the history, we're talking about things that happened when we're talking about the scramble for Africa and things
right,
like that.
19th century scramble.
19th century scramble. I mean, the fact that the whole continent was actually divided in Berlin, for instance.
We're going back to 1884, Berlin Conference, 1885.
Yeah, right before that, before what even spurred the 1884 Berlin Conference is the fact that these guys who just saw land in Africa, they just assumed no one was living there, or the Africans didn't even own the land.
They discovered.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's really ridiculous. And they decide. It's actually because they started being in conflict with themselves. We're talking about the Portuguese, the Italians, the French, the English, the Brits. So they were in conflict in many of those African countries, and they decided to go together and have this tete-a-tete discussion and decide to divide the continent among themselves. So much so that they don't get in conflicts in exploiting the continent.
Right. They were even, this history says they were even fighting among themselves over who is going to control what.
Definitely.
Right?
Yes.
So if you look at the Berlin Conference of 1884, 1885, it was mainly a conference to divide Africa and to say that Africa and her children shall forever be defeated.
So it was a problem they were solving for themselves first.
Right.
So they had individual problems because remember, we're talking about King Leopold, for instance, own Congo, like a person,
his private property.
Yeah, like
private property.
Like it's private property. So just to tell you how ridiculous this thing was.
Oh my God.
And we're still suffering the effects
to this day. Till
this day. So right from the word go, the African continent was a raw material, was a raw factory.
It was a farmland.
It was a farmland.
They divided it to be a farmland for them.
Now, if we look at it, it was during the first industrial revolution in Europe, right?
Yeah.
So they needed raw material.
Of course.
And then they discover Africa. We have it. That's why colonization happened. They imported our raw material, right? Through colonization to build Europe, and to this day we still suffer from that.
Yes, because the initial process or the initial idea for Africa was raw materials.
Right.
It was economical.
Right.
Politics came after. Religion was what.
Well, religion is what gave them the door.
I think politics.
Yeah, they gave us the Bible while we were selling our land.
They sent missionaries to preach us Christianity.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Basically distract us so they can take over the land.
Politics and religion basically came in when they started fighting over Africa. So they had to go have their conference, a little Berlin conference, which they break down Africa and shit.
Berlin Conference happened before the colonization. Yes, that's when they started sending these. So who was it that discovered Africa? So-called Diego Cao, some European explorer that landed, I believe it was in South Africa or some country, that brought the news to Europe. Right, I've discovered a new land. So they had a Berlin Conference, 1884, 1885, right? Over who is going.
To retract again.
Right.
France and Britain had, even Belgium, they had economic conflicts. Like we're talking about having problems exploiting a particular piece of land or a particular resource. Because of that, they were fighting among themselves.
Absolutely.
So they were like, let's not fight among ourselves, man.
Right.
We've seen this piece, this huge cake. This cake is huge.
That's why you see Cameroon, they have both Francophone and Anglophone because the Brits,
which is affecting us right
to this
now.
Today. Yeah, so
that's the funniest part.
We're going to get to that. So the point is, these guys were fighting among themselves and decided to use Africa, which was the bait. Decided to use a whole continent. We're talking about the whole continent. As big as it is. They took the whole conference, sat among themselves, with no African involved in the conference.
No representation.
Without taking into consideration ethnic groups, without taking into consideration the culture, without taking into consideration. I mean, it's ridiculous that you're in a country, and this is Congo, and this is let's even take Cameroon. This is like Cameroon. This is Nigeria. Like you're like this. You're standing here, and then that's like Nigeria there.
Right.
Because and each time you even check it, most of the countries that are on the border of all African countries, they have a very mixed citizens. I don't want to say citizenship, but they have a certain mixed culture because they have both.
Right.
And at times it's usually parents from one section who gave birth.
It's same with us with Brazza and Rwanda. We have similar cultures.
Mr. Peter, let me add to that. Okay, you went too far to Nigeria. Just look at Cameroon. Within Cameroon, look at the people from Bamu.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Those are basically like brothers.
Yeah,
that's the same people. But now you're gonna see that the Bamum people are French.
Yes, that's
Then there's other English.
Yeah.
They're now fighting each other.
Effects of colonization.
Because of the Berlin Conference. I mean, that's where the whole headache for me started. Because
Berlin Conference.
And we're just cutting this country in it. It's like us just sitting right here and just demarcating that. This is mine.
They didn't even take culture into consideration.
No, they didn't take anything into consideration.
They
just say from this end to that end that belongs to France. France take that.
You take that, I take this.
Without considering that there are people that live there. There's the land people were farming. People had a system that was working.
So because of that, Africa has always had this economic problem. Yeah. So right from even taking it back right to slavery, it's the same thing.
Right.
They don't want to help us develop the continent because they are, that's one very big thing that is in European countries and even right here in the US. There's something they call generational wealth. So so it accrues. It's from you to your children to your children's children.
That's how it
So that's how it has been. So they're maintaining the status quo. They're maintaining how it was. Which is I kind of applaud them for being able to keep that level of generational
until independence of my country, 1960. Congo was inherited by King. What's his name? Baudouin. It was generational wealth.
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
It was generational wealth. Since Congo was owned by King
Leopold the first,
his son took over.
King Leopold the second.
Right.
Exactly.
The second, up to Baudouin, 1960.
Yeah, correct.
Same family.
Same family.
So that is how they've been able to maintain Africa since 1886.
Right.
So it's not now. The problem is now it's become a little bit tricky. It's become a little bit technical. It's become a little. It's not that outward again. It's not like
historically. That's true too about Berlin Conference, but historically, so the Francophone countries prior to independence, when they wrote the Declaration of Independence, in that declaration they say that France told them that we'll give you independence, but you have to agree to our terms and conditions, which is we will control your economy, we will control your natural resources,
we'll print your money for you.
Right, we will control your currency. And our founding fathers agree. I believe it was only Mali or with those two countries in the West at that time.
At that time, I don't think they had much options. They didn't have many choices.
No. Why didn't we agree? Congo didn't agree to that. Why didn't Gabon, all those countries, why didn't they agree?
Well, you have to understand that
all of them have, even Brits.
You have to understand that having a choice to be independent under those conditions or stay in bondage, most people would definitely go to be independent. So my problem is, since then up to now, a lot should change, but nothing is changing.
Yes, a lot should change, but what should really change is that document, because that's what
absolutely
all that leverage. You see what I'm getting at?
No, I'm a little bit. I feel like we went too fast from
Berlin Conference.
Yeah, from where we were. Like I believe we fast forwarded and gone really too far. Because once we are able to establish that fact first, then we can move on to the next thing.
Okay.
Which was the colonization which came.
Right. Yeah. So Berlin Conference happened and then colonization. Definitely. Okay. Moving forward.
So with the colonization, we have now these guys who are like the masters. They can do whatever they want. They can take whatever resource they want. They can do whatever
basically
they want.
Our countries became their property.
Exactly. Now we're still talking about the whole continent being exploited. It's been exploited. It's been exploited economically, exploited politically, exploited culturally, exploited in every way. We're talking about there's a movement, I think, by the Saw people in Europe, like the Gonzo. We're talking about bring back Gonzo.
Bring back Gonzo. They took our cultural.
Their museum.
They're in the British Museum.
The artifacts.
Yes.
Bro, no. They have to bring them back.
So
they exploited everything.
So exploited everything till the 1960s. When the wave of independence was roaring
1958
around.
Ghana, following,
when the independence fire was roaring around.
Right.
Now these French guys were like, oh, I don't want to talk only about the French. I mean, everyone. The British were like, yeah, we're done with Nigeria, for instance. Okay, let's leave. Belgium was like, oh, we're done with the Congo. Let's leave. Portugal was like, oh, we're done with
Mozambique and Angola.
Yes, let's leave. So now, the guy who decided to not to leave and not leave, it's France.
It's France.
How did they do it? They did it through the general, the guy they call Monsieur France Afrique, who is no other man like the General Foucault, I
thought it was De Gaulle.
No, De Gaulle. Remember, De Gaulle.
World War I or II?
No, De Gaulle is far, but we're talking about De Gaulle. We're talking about like France independence because
okay.
But Foucault was the guy. When we talk about France Afrique, it is Foucault who is the guy at the forefront because he's the one who principally.
And who is this Foucault? I don't remember.
Okay, so Foucault was in charge of.
Was he African or French?
No, Foucault was French.
That's a French citizen.
That's a French minister.
Foucault.
Yeah, Foucault. That's his name. Foucault was in charge.
Sounds African to me. I don't know.
No. Foucault was in charge. Foucault was in charge of I want to say the French patrimony in that sense of in the sense of the colonies they own abroad. So his role principally was how do we transition from these Africans who have gained independence and yet we keep them under a rule. So how do we do it? How can we go about it?
Right.
So he's the one who started establishing this fact that we have to put in the persons that need to be where they need to be in Africa. I mean, Foucault is principally the one who named most of the first presidents after independence in most of French African colonies. Even when we talk about Aïdjo, even in Cameroon, of course it's Foucault. It's Foucault who recommended Aïdjo. André Bida would have been the first PM of Cameroon if not for Foucault. Houphouët Boigny in Côte d'Ivoire would not have been president if not Foucault. Omar Bongo would not have been president without Foucault. So Foucault is the one who knit the relationship between France
and Africa.
And French Africa.
The France Afrique. So he's the Monsieur France Afrique per se. Okay. So he's the one maintaining now this relationship of continuous peerage and at the same time giving this impression that these guys are independent. So that's how we're going to have people later on coming in and taking over the continent and taking very strategic areas in the continent. This is again very far
going back in the 40s, 50s.
This is really far.
So, but you skipped one very important thing because our founding fathers, the Kwame Nkrumahs, Modibo Keita, and all of them. The spirit of independent spirit or Pan-Africanism didn't come until they all came to fight or study in the World War II. That's when they realized, okay, we have got to be independent because they've seen how life is here. They've seen how people are being treated here. So that's the revolution. They got that revolution spirit after the World War II.
Yes, I think it's after even World War II. World War II, definitely. We're talking about the Pan-African movement.
Right.
And we're talking about
Pan-African movement began way before that. Yeah. If we talk about Pan-African movement, we're going back to the Marquis Harveys.
That's
but I'm talking the independence. Yeah, that's where they got the idea from. After that, and then they went back to Africa. But my problem is, why did they submit to those terms and conditions of the French gave them? That you are independent, but you're not independent.
It's like that was the only option they had.
No.
If they didn't submit to those, we would have stayed
because the history says Mali. When French left, they said they destroyed Mali. They built everything that they built.
They destroyed it.
Before they left. But look at Mali today; they recovered, right? So my problem is, I'm frustrated at them. They're the ones who put us in this condition because they agreed to it. I know they didn't have another option.
They didn't have options. They didn't have many
They shouldn't have. They should have listened to that Mali, I think it was Modibo Keita, that didn't agree with France. They said, look, we will not sign this agreement. We want to be free. And that's what brought us where we are today.
Gentlemen, I'm going to ask you guys this question, okay? Before we move forward. So now we are here. We can't change history.
Right.
Yeah, we are here.
No, we can change history.
And our economy is really not doing good. We all know that. So moving forward, what do you guys think we have to do to better it within the next 20 to 30 years?
That's a good question. Now, about the economy, again, those two countries are holding Africa back.
Okay.
France and China, right? So if you look at France is controlling the economy in the Francophone West African countries, right? They print the franc CFA, the reserve is in France, and if they want to withdraw them, they withdraw it as a loan and they pay with interest. This is their own money.
They even decide the amount of money we're going to have in circulation.
Develop? Tell me, how can a country develop?
Definitely, the movement for the franc CFA has been a huge one. Like,
it's recently growing.
We've had many people who've come up to, logically, logically, it doesn't even make sense. Like, you don't even need to be an economist to understand.
Very basic.
Like, you don't even need to be an economist to understand that you can't be using a currency that is fabricated in another country. Controlled by another country.
How? Yeah.
The truth is, have you seen? I once watched a viral video online where this guy went to a rail station in France and used the franc CFA to pay his ticket, and they refused to take the money.
They don't even know the money in France. I don't think the French people know about France.
They know, but they don't take it. They should know.
Just imagine how ridiculous it is. They're the one fabricating it.
Absolutely. It's for African countries.
They're the ones.
It has no value. You can't compare it to the euro, or it doesn't have value. Though it's used, I believe, in 13 or 20 some countries.
So technically, the African leader. Probably the implications of an African currency are high. That's why Gaddafi was killed in the first place.
We'll talk about him.
That's why Gaddafi was killed in the first place.
True Pan-African.
That was a true son.
That's fundamental, because that's what I'm saying. And the intricacies I'm not an economist, and I probably wouldn't be the best person to talk about how the technicalities involved in not using franc CFA. But logical.
Just look at it logically. You don't have to be an economist to see that.
That's what I'm saying. That logically speaking, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't even resonate.
But why? My question is why? Okay, here's the thing. Before we even move on, we have to acknowledge one person who is fighting today about the franc CFA, Kemi Seba. Kemi Seba I believe is from Benin. Right?
I know. Get on.
Yeah, but Kemi Seba is not only fighting for Benin, but he's fighting for all African countries.
Absolutely.
Against the exploitation of France in Africa. Right? So if you don't know him, I encourage you to look him up. He's on social media platform. Kemi Seba is a good Pan-Africanist that I personally support.
Yes.
And, right. Now, moving on, recently, we saw the West African heads of states, Francophone countries, they had a meeting to come up with their own currency. You guys must have heard about that, right? As soon as France heard about this meeting, they jumped right in. They said, whoa. We come up with a new currency. I believe it's called ECO. So to me, it's still going to be the same thing.
So what?
It will be regulated
it's
by
the same
France,
thing.
Printed by France.
No.
Right? What do you guys think?
No. We need to print our own currency without the presence of France.
That's exactly what the meeting was about. I believe it took place, if not South Africa, Cameroon, one of those two countries, right? So it's supposed to be printed in Africa and used in all West African countries, right?
But then France.
Then as soon as France heard about this meeting, they jumped right in.
The truth is, in those meetings, who are the protagonists?
It must have been, I don't know.
Because what I'm saying is, you don't get African presidents at the forefront talking about the need for France. I mean, I've never heard.
No.
What I'm saying is, I've never heard, for instance, the president of my country condemn the France CFA outright.
Publicly.
Outright.
Right. First of all,
Well, I'll ask you this question, Mr. Peter. Who got him in to begin with?
Okay. So now,
why would he complain?
Yeah. So now we're getting where we should have been talking, or where we should have started.
Yeah.
If you have a president who has been in power for more than 2 decades, it's impossible for you to be in power for that long without having to
democratically, yes.
Yeah, without having to give away certain things, like without having to compromise certain things, because people change. That's the simple truth about it. It has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with.
That's a standard. People change.
People change. People have different needs. People have different desires. People want to try new things and all that. Mm-hmm. So if you're able to maintain yourself for that long, you should have good backing as to why you're able to maintain yourself for that long. Mm-hmm. When you look at all Africa, the presidents, the presidents in former French colonies, those guys they beat the record for being the longest guys.
Honestly, it's the Francophone
most notorious
countries that
presidents.
have
They're from the most fun.
if you look at the dictators in Africa, majority of them come from Francophone countries.
Absolutely.
So the longest, they are like the longest guys on the seat, and these guys sign very complex deals or very complex arrangements
that we live the consequence of.
I don't even think they read them. They just place them and then they sign.
Let's take for instance, Cameroon. Who controls the railway in Cameroon, for instance?
France.
It's Bolloré. It's France.
Okay, it's a French dude.
Bolloré controls the airport. He controls the.
That's not.
In Togo, he controls the seaport.
But wait, do we still even have railways in Cameroon? I thought the president of Cameroon, he took it out and sold it to
the seaport. The seaport in Cameroon, the same thing. We're talking about a French guy, Bolloré.
Yeah, that's a French guy.
Who also own all 90% of banana that is produced in Cameroon.
The Monte is still French.
It's second to France. So that's actually where the solution has to begin. Like, that's where the solution has to begin. There's no way you can give what you don't have. The resources we claim we have in Africa, they don't belong to us.
They don't belong to us. No,
not at all.
So
because in that agreement, it said we will control your resources that has been discovered and yet to be discovered. So let's say today there's a uranium discovered in Cameroon. You want benefits. Yeah, it's all France.
Yes, and the problem is even those who have tried to go out of that model, almost all the African patriots, put them that way, or the African heroes per se, who have been assassinated in Africa or in the diaspora, where people were fighting to eliminate these kind of things. We're talking about people like Sankara.
Of course.
We're talking about people like Mumi. We're talking about
Gaddafi.
We're talking about Enes Wanji. We're talking about
Gaddafi.
Yes,
you know.
Even the famous KB Seba that you quoted. That guy, you can't count the number of times he has been to jail.
I know.
Absolutely.
He was recently arrested in Burkina Faso.
Exactly.
Reported.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Know? Exactly. That's each time this kind of persons come up, the great
they try to shut them down,
try to kill them. I mean, when we're talking about shutting them down, most people are assassinated. It's not something that we are talking. We're saying that it's
so that has to end. Who will end it? It's us, Africa.
No. So I feel like this is our generation, this younger population.
Yes.
We are gonna end up.
I mean, that's why we're talking about. That's why we're talking about these issues on this platform, because we believe it's a time where it's the period. It's a time for
this is a time in history.
More engagement. It's a time for more engagement.
Absolutely.
We say it's a time for people to really understand how their continent is going, how the continent should be going, and how they can participate in it.
And Mr. Peter, let me add to that. We can count on our leaders.
Oh no!
Because these people are basically like puppets. They're in this place to save the West interest. That's it. That's why they stay in power for so long.
They're not even leaders.
They're not leaders.
Because look, when we were young, they used to tell us you are the leaders of tomorrow. But those same leaders are still on power to this day.
No, it's because they're saving the best interest of the West. That's why they keep them in power for so long.
Right.
Like rightly said, when you rise against the West, they eliminate you.
But it has to end. That's why they had a summit in France, Africa.
It will end
our generation has to end that.
If we end right, if we just love our lands and we love our people more.
No, that's not how it works.
Look at what happened to Sankara.
No, that's not how.
We can do it diplomatically. We don't have to do it.
That's not
diplomatically. I don't think that's gonna be. How is that gonna solve it?
That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Like. That's principally not how it works. Like it's going to change overnight.
No.
It's not going to work.
Of course not. But we have to begin the process of change.
System has to be put in place.
We've been
education has to be done
long
to inspire the future population to do that for us.
And this is why we're doing this. This is education.
Yeah, this is education.
Yeah, definitely. What we're doing is very important. What we're doing is very important as far as bringing back that sentiment, try to push it up.
Right.
Make people understand that we can't abandon it. We can't abandon the continent like that. We can't let it just. We can't let our resources be controlled by other people. We can't let our resources be exploited by others, and we don't even benefit from it. When we're talking about let's say Cameroon, for instance, the plantations that are. If you even look at the conditions in which those who work in those plantations work, we have to make them understand that those plantations actually belong to us.
Absolutely.
That's actually where the first.
No, wait.
What I mean is that's actually It's for instance it's like when you come to when you move out, like you go to the diaspora, for instance. Until you normally acquire something, it doesn't belong to you.
Absolutely.
Right. We know that.
Yeah. You need to normally acquire it.
Right.
And if you don't normally acquire it and you're living in that particular, if let's say you don't normally acquire a piece of land and you're living in that piece of land, and 50 years we come to discover that the means in which you acquire that particular piece of land is not normal, they're still going to take it away from you.
Right.
If I'm transposing that same logic into what is going on in our African continent here, the port, for instance, belongs to the country which the port is. If there's a seaport in Togo, it belongs to the Togolese.
Absolutely.
Now we need to understand, we need to see the clause. We need to understand the clause in which transition happened, how the French or how whoever decided is now controlling that particular port. We need to understand the very basics, because that's from where we can. Some of these places are. Let me check again the railway in Cameroon. It's a contract that is signed over and over the years. For instance, with Bolloré. But now after the accident that happened, even with the railroad, the last catastrophe that happened with the railroad, for instance, what did Bolloré do? Nothing.
No, he didn't even. Did he even offer a statement?
So look, here's the thing.
Hold on, JP. I have a point. I have a very important point I want to bring up here.
So we need to hold them accountable. We need to hold everyone.
This is what is going to spark critical thinking among Africans. When we, the diasporas, right, we stop feeling comfortable here and actually trying to move back home. That is going to start sparking critical thinking. Because look, the smartest people out of Africa, they probably left Africa some years ago on scholarship. They come out here. We know a lot of them. But when they are done with school, done with studying, what do? They get this amazing jobs, and then they just stay here. Nobody goes back. Yeah. This cycle keeps continuing.
No, that's very important. We have to
let me learn. Gentlemen, give me a second. Let me make my point, right? For example, my uncle, he left Cameroon. He was in France for 25 years. He went under a hijo with a math scholarship. This man lived in France for 25 years. He built himself a company in France, a trucking company. He was doing great. Yeah. These people left. It was a lot of them that left back then, but nobody followed them back to bring them back to the country.
Well, when we come here, you go to school, you graduate, a big company offers you a job with big money. You look back home. And here you're like,
they're not gonna pay me, so they stay out here. So
you have to be that patriotic.
It's not helping us.
You know what I mean?
It's not helping us.
Go back and say, I'm gonna build my continent.
How many doctors here you know are from Nigeria?
No, I think that's a personal preference.
That's a personal preference, but we have to consider actually going back and...
That's a personal preference.
It is, because if you look at it today, there are probably more Ghanaian doctors in New York City than the entire country of Ghana.
Yeah, it's still a personal...
It's a fact. There's more Nigerian doctors in Texas than in Nigeria.
Yeah, it's still a personal preference. Because, remember, at the time when most of our uncles or most of our parents studied and went back, they went back because at the time the country was still new, it was still growing. They felt like after getting all the degrees they got here, when they go back home, they're going to be masterpieces. They're going to be building the country from scratch. So the opportunity was there. That's why most of those who left here, when they went back, they got really good jobs. They were working like directors. They were working at all of those things. They were working at all of those things. But the system didn't maintain it, because most parents, when they send their kids to the diaspora, they were like, you go study, you come back. You go study, you come back. You go study, you come back.
They never go back.
There's a job. There's a job. There's going to be a job for you. There's going to be this for you. There are people who've studied here, they've gone back, and they've come back here.
But here's the
thing. All right, if we don't go back, who is going to change the system?
No, listen.
No.
Let's be honest and frank.
Yeah, go back and feel uncomfortable. When you feel uncomfortable, you're going to start looking for ways to change it.
That's why I say it's a personal preference. There's some people who would rather not go through all that. There are other people who will be like willing to do it. So
let's be honest and frank, right?
Well, that means we're giving up.
Our parents always
we're giving up on our own continent
to get a better job. What job in Africa? Tell me. We have engineers.
Go and create the jobs. This when people ask me this question, I get so mad. Go and create the jobs for yourself. All right. No.
That's a initiative.
No. Hold on. Look at America, right? Look at America, for example. A lot of people are like, oh, look at the United States of America. They have so many jobs, but I've been here for how many years? The highest sector that employs people here is the private sector.
That's true.
The private sector employs people here way more than the government. But a lot of African youths are just sitting back, waiting for the government to do something for them. Of course, the government has to make the conditions favorable for us to be able to build companies and employ our own people. But here's the thing. People are still striving and they're still making it in Africa.
Under very harsh conditions.
Keep going to those harsh conditions.
That's what I'm saying.
Even America went through a hard time.
That's what I'm saying.
You can't skip steps.
That's what I'm saying.
We can't keep steps.
That's what I'm saying. It's a personal preference. Because what we're trying to do here is we're trying to keep those who are making it very difficult for us to develop and want to go force ourselves into a system. Most of these countries we're talking about, I mean, we're talking principally here of French-speaking countries.
Yeah.
Most of them are at the level of corruption that is very, 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 very difficult. You want to start a business, you have a 1 million, you have to pay taxes for, let's say, 200,000. And someone will come and tell you, bon, you can give me 300,000 and you will never pay taxes on this piece of this thing. You give him 300,000, another person comes and be like, we don't know the guy you gave money to, you need to give another 50,000. So it's impossible. So it's impossible. So we have to...
Don't give up.
No. We can't force it.
Listen.
We can't force
it.
It's like putting a square in a circle. It's not going to fit.
That's true. Listen, it's not our responsibility to create. Yes, we do have that responsibility.
Oh, no. It's so much our responsibility. Listen, whose responsibility is it now?
The government has to give us, like you say, like he's saying, the facility, right? They have to facilitate us to create these jobs, like he's saying.
So if they're not doing it, we should just not do it?
Just look at what, for instance, in Cameroon, you can't have dual nationality. So it already eliminates
the same.
Okay, so now you're already eliminated. If let's say you're doing pretty well here, you have a business here, you want to go establish in Cameroon, for instance, you can't go to Cameroon and establish that business as a Cameroonian.
How would they know?
That's the problem. So that's what I'm saying.
You are Cameroonian. You don't show your American identity. You go there as a Cameroonian.
No, it's de facto. What it means is
you cannot change the system from outside. Go into the system, work from the inside, and change it from the inside.
It's de facto. So immediately you get another nationality, you automatically
you're no longer a Cameroonian.
You automatically lose.
So
the other
listen,
one.
it's the same in my country. What I'm saying, you don't have to go there and show them, okay, I'm an American. You're Cameroonian. Go to
the country is already corrupted enough.
The language,
just go.
Say, I am a Cameroonian. I'm from Douala, Yaoundé.
Do I need a piece of paper to say I'm from Banso?
Don't say that.
I don't need a piece of paper. That is my land. That is my father's land. What are you saying?
They will tax you higher, being that you're given that you're American citizen.
Yeah, don't even try to do that American citizen thing.
No, that's the problem. That's what I'm saying. We're fitting circles and squares. It's not going to work that way.
Why would it not work?
It cannot work that way.
Why would it not work?
It cannot work that way. We need established rules that say it's okay if you have
that's favorable for diaspora to come home and build companies.
Mr. Peter,
until then, no one's going to go.
Let me make this point.
Some people are going to go back.
If we had 5 people in Cameroon that had so much power as this guy from Nigeria, Dangote, these people would have put so much pressure on the government, and a lot of these tax issues, dual nationality issues would have changed.
In Africa, we have billionaires, like you mentioned, Dangote.
Dangote is making it in Africa.
Santos, Elon Musk, right?
Do it.
Those are the people that can create jobs in Africa.
Try.
Dangote is done in Nigeria.
That's it. He built his way in Nigeria.
Yes. All the
have a lot of
companies, right? Isabel dos Santos, the tech company, right?
In Africa.
Yes, in Africa.
That's what I'm saying. It's a person. That's why I keep saying that it's a personal preference. Dangote saw the opportunity in Africa. He took it, and he took that one.
What are we doing here, gentlemen?
So people are seeing the opportunity here, and they're taking the one.
Okay, but what are we doing here right now?
So what we're doing? What we're doing here?
We're educating people.
We're educating people, right? But on this platform, what are we doing? We are investing, right?
His understanding of the problem is that people who've made it, for instance, should go back to Africa.
Absolutely. I'm not saying pack your bags and go back.
No, that's what I'm saying.
So
that's why
start something little.
That's what I'm saying.
Start something small.
Gentlemen, it's heated here. The debate is heated. So that's why we have this platform.
There we go.
Inviting all Africans to invest to Africa.
Invest in Africa the small you can.
We can go home and build our continent. It's not easy. It won't be today or tomorrow.
You guys want to skip steps. That's the problem. We want to skip steps. We just want to change things like that. No. You know what?
No.
Start that small milk factory in your village, right? Help local farmers. Let them bring their milk. Process it for them. Sell it locally. Employ 5 people. Your children will add to that. They will employ 20.
It
will grow.
That's assuming 80% of Africans here are entrepreneurs, that they have the spirit to.
No, we're calling for entrepreneurs.
That's what we're calling.
We're calling on entrepreneurs.
Right? Africa is home, right? That's where Africa is home. Come and invest.
Home. Go back home and invest.
Right? So you can have
do the small you can.
Say, I want to start a poultry business selling eggs, milk. Start.
How many people will you employ when you start that? That's
here's the thing.
Of course they're gonna steal. I know you're gonna bring that point.
No.
Of course they're gonna steal.
No, I wasn't even thinking about people stealing chicken in poultry farms. What I was thinking is, we need to make the reforms need to start from top. In this case, they need to start from top, not from the bottom, because many people are frustrated. They have gone and tried in every way possible to be able to establish businesses.
Sir. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Looking back in history, have you ever seen any change start from top? No. I don't think any change can start from top.
No. I mean,
the point you just made, right? We all know the answer to that. Corruption.
It's not gonna start from top.
There might be a law that favors diaspora. But in order to get that paper you want, you have to go through this person, that person, this, and these people. Like you said, you pay him. Say, I don't know that one. This is the right. You need like a stamp.
So that is why.
I don't know this one. You need this signature. That's what we see in Africa.
That's why I'm saying that's the first thing that needs to be cleared out.
He said from the top.
From the top.
It's not gonna work from the top. It's impossible.
In this case, it's from the top.
Okay.
Let me take a situation I understand and I kind of grasp a little bit. Let's say in Cameroon, for instance, most of the wealthy businessmen there, we're talking about people like Congelcam. Those who, we're talking about Foco. We're talking about, we're talking about the big guys.
Big guys.
Those big guys are automatically in a political posture that puts them close to who is on power. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Because the advantages for them, they're going to pay lesser taxes. They're going to beat the system in one way or the other. They're going to be able to go away with a number of few things that others wouldn't be able to. Now, if you're starting a business and already you are not on that side of the political spectrum, put it that way, it already becomes already a hindrance for you. When you're not even a political guy, you're like apolitical. You're there. No one is really apolitical, but you're like, you don't really want to get in this thing. You just want to do your business and leave this place. People bring in like taxes, making it very difficult for you to really invest. And the system is making it almost impossible for you to be able to have your business and keep it running. We are assuming here that people who have businesses who want to start those businesses in Africa. We hope that's the spirit, that people want to push people more. But the problem is we want to make sure that the field is first of all set for them to come in. Because if it's not set, they're going to, you don't want to invest in a country where you're going to be losing money.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, that's also another issue, right?
It kills startup companies.
Diaspora, we might have that will to go back home and invest. But then we are looking at all these factors you're mentioning. If I invest there, can I trust this country? Am I going to get my revenue? Are they going, to take my money? If I invest in this business or in this bank, am I going to be successful? Can we trust the system? That's the problem that we are running.
And don't forget that African countries have very political crisis at times, which is a big deterrent.
Absolutely.
To investors. Like what? There are guys here who want to invest in Africa. How do you think they Rwanda? Almost everything that is, I don't want to say almost everything, but most of the big names we know here in the US are like in Rwanda.
Well, yeah.
Like they're investing there without.
The system works.
Even Arsenal.
Why are we going far? Why are we going that big? Let's just take for example. Africa is on our platform right here.
Because the system.
We just went on.
It's from the top first. That's what I'm saying. It should be from the top.
Mr. Peter, here is example. We just went and invested in Northwest.
Yes.
Where there's the crisis going on.
Yes.
Yeah, we just bought into this rice factory there.
Yes.
Now it's very hard for us to transport the rice to the economic capital because of the Amazonia thing going on. They're blocking our trucks. And rice is not going down.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. Even this, came up implemented.
We don't stop. We keep trying. So what we're doing now is, all right, the country is already corrupted. I'm going to play by that system.
No, it means you're ready
to lose money. So we pay everybody along the way until the rice get to the market.
So it means you're ready to lose money.
We're not going to quit. We're not going to. We have to try. Some people depend on this company to eat.
So what he's saying is that we need the implementation to be. There has to be.
And I'm saying this. And here's what I'm saying. Nothing has ever changed from the top. It's always the bottom that gets super uncomfortable. Listen.
When the bottom has enough lobbying power, put it quote unquote, because remember, in Africa, when you're working in Cameroon, everyone, for instance, in most of these countries we're talking about, everyone wants to work for the government.
That's a problem. Like, that's a problem. That's not okay.
The concept of concourse. Everyone wants to write a concourse.
Yeah, everybody wants to get a government job.
Everyone wants to get a government job. So first, people need to understand.
Because that's what the money is.
Yes. So now it's like.
That's where they think the money is.
Yeah. All the money is like from there.
That's where they think.
It's exactly that's why they think. To be able to have that power from below and be able to. Because we need many businesses that are doing really well, that are able to be a contre-pouvoir, who are able to be like a lobbying for themselves and be able to match up with the government and be like, we're not taking this
anymore.
We're not doing this.
We need those billionaires to stand up.
That's why we need the Aliko Dangote, the Isabel.
We need the Ndawaras to stand up and say enough.
No,
they're not going to do it before.
Now
the system favors them.
No,
it favors the big companies
because they are in the system. That's what I was saying.
Hard just for the startup companies.
That's exactly what I was saying. Now, I started by saying that. Remember the focus, the congé camp,
absolutely, congé camps.
They are automatically members of
the government. There we go.
Or of the ruling
power,
or of the ruling party.
There we go.
So it becomes difficult for them to be the sources of change in making and bringing in other factors, bringing in other business.
Then they are chiefs.
So
they are chiefs.
That's just Cameroon.
They are the
right?
same problem.
So let's talk about Africa in general, because in Congo we faced
that was generally Africa though. That's the problem with Africa. Do you know how much change Dangote can bring to Nigeria?
He does. Dangote.
It's a microcosm. Why using? I mean, my example.
Oh no, he doesn't.
Oh, he does.
He's trying.
He's the biggest employer in the country.
Yes.
If he closes his company today, Nigeria.
I know Nigeria will go on fire.
Well, so he dictates.
But that is he can still do more. He can still do more.
So he can dictate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Economically,
because he's the biggest employer. He has a lot of company. If he says
he's the biggest private employer in Africa, not only in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So that's
private employer in Africa.
So those are the people that can make a difference.
Exactly.
We need 5.
Exactly.
Go to the
5.
We do have 3. We have Dangote, Isabel dos Santos, and Elon Musk. Elon Musk, well, is
Elon Musk. Forget about him.
You know, but
I don't even think he claims Africa anymore. I don't think Elon Musk claims Africa anymore. So yeah, that's
we have Isabel dos Santos
and somewhere else.
and Aliko Dangote.
Don't talk about Elon.
He has space issues.
Yeah, he has space issues. He's thinking about space. Elon Musk.
He has space issues to think about. Elon Musk has space issues to think about.
Let's think about that.
We're talking about.
Bring us back here.
Bring us. Remember when we're talking. Remember when we're talking about Africa? Africa is like it's countries. It's countries. It's not one country. So there's no way we can talk about it without talking about specifics in different places.
Yeah, guys, we covered France, right? And what France has done, and now China, the new kid in the block. China is borrowing every African country. Every 5 infrastructure projects in China, in Africa, is funded by China, and China is building every 3 of the 5 infrastructure projects in
Can I
Africa,
comment
right?
on that? If you gentlemen will let me.
Yeah.
For me, I don't think China is bad for Africa. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out before you crucify me. Here's the thing. I think that the only bad thing that is going to happen is if we make mistakes when we are signing these partnerships with Chinese companies. We have to draft the partnerships in a way that they're going to favor our people and our lands moving forward. But Africa alone cannot stand on its feet alone. Let's be honest. We don't make a lot of stuff. We don't produce machines. We don't produce a lot. So we need China for their machines.
We need partners, not just China.
Yes, we need partners. But now let's draft partnerships that favors us for once.
So our problem is, okay, you want to do business with Africa. We want to be equal partners with
not equal.
No, listen. It has to be equal.
Not equal. We have to be above. It's our lands. It's our raw materials. You have to get a fraction.
Listen,
why we get like the larger part?
What I'm afraid of China is what? China will eventually debt trap Africa and
they're debt trapping us already.
Slowly.
You guys are not understanding.
Look at the history.
It's like you don't understand what's going on here. What's going on here is China is right now the biggest
lender in Africa. After the IMF, we all know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
China is giving out loans to African countries at like very low percentage for interest rates.
Absolutely.
So at times even
compared to France.
At times even
IMF,
0%.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing about China is they don't care what is going on in your country. So how much you want? 100 million. Are there human rights violations in your country? Well, we don't care. We're going to give you the money. We don't care what you do with the money. But here's the trick. China is working on very big infrastructures. And those are the kind of things that bring a lot of jobs.
Right.
But how does China go about it? First, they lend you the money.
And then they build the project.
And then they bring their workers on the project.
They bring their own engineers.
Don't we have engineers in Africa?
So our engineers. Okay, here's the thing. Our engineers cannot actually build those infrastructures. But here's the thing: we can actually put them up there, let them learn.
That's why I'm saying
they can learn.
We need mutual partnership.
But China is not trying to teach them, though. China is not trying to teach anybody.
That's what I was saying. We need mutual partnership. China, you lend us the money. We start infrastructure projects, employ and train our people.
They don't want to do that.
That's
the twist. They don't do that. China doesn't do that.
So now you guys understand when I say that in this particular situation, the change needs to come from the top. What I'm saying is, our leaders are the ones signing these deals.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
So you should be able to trust them that they have a good in heart.
Right. So it's okay.
But they're signing these deals on terms that don't look logical to anybody. Like, how on earth is it possible that you're lending me money? I'm going to repay you with interest rate.
Yeah.
To come work on a project in my country.
And then I have to give you back all the money.
I have to repay
That's
you.
basically what they are doing.
And then you're bringing
simple logic.
You're bringing
Your engineers,
your
machines, everything which I have to pay for with the money you lend to me.
Simple logic.
And I have to pay with the money you lend to
Then
me.
pay back the loan after.
Then pay the loan after. Then give you a whole vast resource as collateral.
As collateral.
So look.
So when a leader signs that, for instance, you understand already that it's not an interest that it's not the people's interest that is at heart there. It's
Political. So, okay, the president elected official that has been elected, he want to impress his voters, right? I'm going to build roads. I'm going to build this. China comes in and say, okay, what do you need? I need to build the roads. Okay, here's the terms and condition. We'll start infrastructure project. We'll bring our own engineers. You pay them with the money that we lend you, and then you pay us with the interest.
You sitting here, you're a Cameroonian. Do you know how much
You see
you owe
what
China?
I'm saying?
You personally. You alone. You personally. Just you.
I hope
Do you know how much you owe China?
I hope I don't owe
Don't
anything.
ever.
You see what I'm saying? You pay them and then you impress your voters. See, I build road. It's political.
It's very political.
They don't have our interest at heart.
they've never.
Nothing.
Of course.
It's all about
But
them
here's the
and
thing:
their families.
we need to trade internationally.
No one
My
has-
only thing is let's make these partnerships favor us for once.
That's what I'm saying. It has to be.
And if you think it's only about the leaders,
mutual.
the top that is gonna fix this, then I think Africa is actually doomed because this top, this 90-year-old people
we
on
talked
top.
about the rainbow for Africa, 19th century.
No, so the
Change
point
by
that-
me
so
from them.
So that's where
Change Guinea.
till we start getting the change coming from the top. The idea now is, which is what we're doing in the platform, the idea now is to make youths be able to have this understanding of what is going on in the continent.
Absolutely.
Understand exactly the intricacies. And we start massively participating in the political debate.
Absolutely.
Participating.
We need to pay attention.
But yeah, participating
For me,
in
personally,
civil rights.
yeah, I would suggest that African youth should have a representative at the AU. You know, Africa, we don't even have a representative
That's a very
at the
good
UN.
point.
At the UN, you know that?
No, that's a very good point. We definitely
Yeah.
need representatives up there now.
At the, we do. Because we are the one living the consequence. We are the one living the
We
consequence.
are the ones in it.
The EU representative at the AU, it's not going to change a big thing.
No, it will make a difference in the sense that
we have youth. The problem is not even youth in the pure sense of the term.
We need a revolution.
because they've appointed.
We need a revolution in Africa.
we need the Thomas Sankaras and Gaddafi.
No,
Because we've appointed-
our
We need a
generation.
continent-wide revolution in Africa.
They are
do.
youths that have been employed or appointed in very strategic positions in different countries, in African countries, who've gone there and done the same thing that those who are old.
Yeah, why would you not do the same thing? When you get there, these people call you, hey, young man, this is how it's gonna go. You don't do that way. They kick you out, they put you in jail.
Obama said it. Obama said Africa has an institution problem. It's not a leadership problem. We need to change the institutions. That's where the change needs to come from. What that means is we need to respect the rules. We need to put rules. It doesn't matter who is there. It doesn't matter if it's a young person,
Rules are
if it's an
rules,
old
meaning-
person. If the rules that's what you are going to be following.
So in Africa, we change constitutions like we change our clothes. In my country, the constitution has been changed. I don't know how many times. In Cameroon,
And the funniest
So
thing
that's
is,
where the failure
so
is.
that's exactly
it's
that's
presidential
where
decree.
the
Oh.
failure.
The
So
funniest thing
it's-
is presidential decree. It's not like they go to the parliament. Pobia just change that thing in his house, like and he sends it out.
That's
So the
the
institutions have
That's
to
messed up.
change first.
That is funny.
Till that eventually happens, we need people to get engaged, understand what is going on, don't give up.
Well,
on
my
the-
principal
on the
focus
continent.
is the economy of
See,
Africa. You know, I want us to be
Africa-
able to have money because it's hard to fight against someone that feeds your children, gives you medication, takes care of you. It's hard to fight someone like that. Even if you want to say, okay, let's get the West out of Africa,
You
let them
know,
stop middling.
when
How
the
are we gonna get there when they
pandemic
give us everything?
You know, when the pandemic happened and then they cut all the supplies to Africa, I was very happy. I was like, this will teach our leaders a lesson to be self-sustainable. like to
they
depend
even
on
learn?
ourselves
Did they learn?
without depending from France, Europe, or whatever. You know, we needed to depend on our. That was a good defining moment for our leaders.
Well, gentlemen, I have a question for you guys before we end the podcast today. Do you guys think African Americans, Africans in Europe, if they unite with Africans in Africa, is gonna be a good step for us economically?
We need them. Big time, we need them.
Because I believe they don't really have our mindset. I really think it's gonna be a good step
No,
for us.
why not?
Oh, we need them. Look, they took the best of the best out of Africa.
Africa, I need that. I need that.
No,
unity.
who said that?
No, slavery.
No, but
No, listen.
Oh yes, slavery took
some
the
of it.
brightest.
No.
If slavery never happened, look at the mindsets we have.
No.
We have
They took the
smart
best.
people in
These
Africa.
people, when they came to
Now
every
listen,
village, they
No.
took they were like the
we
most
have
strong.
we have the best. We have intelligent people in Africa.
Absolutely.
I'm saying they took some of our
Intelligent people.
Look the mindsets that are here. Look at all these billionaires, the Oprahs, all these billionaires. Imagine if we were all in Africa, if slavery never happened, where Africa would have been.
That's not even my point. That's not the point I was trying to make.
I don't agree. No, I don't agree with you guys.
No, that's not the point I was trying to make.
Okay, now listen. Why do you disagree?
I don't even agree with that because there's no way to say that slavery took the finance from Africa. No way. Slavery took the.
But they absolutely went for the brightest though.
No, they took.
I don't think any slave master will come and in the family and take someone that is not.
No, they were taking the strongest.
The strongest.
Principally.
Absolutely.
Principally the
someone
strongest.
that can bulldoze in a plantation.
Yes. So the problem is we have different environments. Children learn by imitation, principally, and the context is completely different. If you have your kid in the US and your friend has a kid at the same time in Cameroon, the developmental faculties of both kids is not going to be the same.
It'll be different.
It's going to be different. For some reason, you're going to feel like your kid in the US is highly skilled or is more intelligent, has a higher IQ.
Yeah.
Than the one in Africa.
Because
it's
it's not
just
exposed.
resources.
Of
Lack
course,
of resources.
exactly.
Same as a kid in Cameroon is probably gonna be more cultural and has a lot of respect.
Yeah, it's lack of resources.
Yeah.
It's lack of resources.
Yeah.
But definitely, if we have this other power, I mean, for instance, we're talking about Akon, for instance. I mean,
What is
Absolutely.
done?
yeah,
we have
what
to-
is
the
doing?
Akon City.
Yeah, what is
People,
doing?
man, we need
So
people
what-
like
what
Jay-Z
we are
and
saying-
Kanye West
what
to
we
look
are
back
saying,
because
we
man,
need
these
them
guys
to
are
invest
missing on the
back
pot of
home.
gold.
Because if you look,
But listen, they need to make the conditions favorable. Remember again, when Akon went back to Senegal, he's like, I'm getting this place that has nothing to do with you. It's like the government has nothing to do with it. It's his place. He's dealing. It's going to have its own currency, whatever. It's going to run.
a
It's going to
coin,
run.
yeah, and I heard it's gonna.
One
be
thing you
crypto.
guys don't understand is
Wait,
this.
I'm still coming to the point.
Yeah.
The point is now he can invest. He's sure of his investment there because the conditions have been made favorable for him to do that kind of thing. Those are the conditions that we need for others as well.
Very good.
Oh,
Ghana
trust me,
recently.
if someone like Jay-Z was to go back to any country in Africa, trust me, the government is going to make the conditions favorable for them.
So Ghana recently also
Personal preference again.
passed
Personal
a law
preference.
of
They're going to make
our-
it favorable
I
for
mean,
them.
preference. If you
No,
want to go.
that favorable system.
They
in
will
Ghana,
make it
that's
for
what
them.
I was gonna say. In Ghana, if you do your DNA test, you're African American. You do your DNA test, and it shows that you're from Ghana. You go to Ghana, you have a citizenship, and you have a land to invest in. The
They've done that.
R400.
They've done-
The R400. Was it law? I think that they passed. That's favorable. So what we are asking for our African American brothers and sisters is to go invest back home.
Absolutely.
Because when they look at us here, black people, what do they say? Go back to Africa. If Africa is not developed economically, black people will never be respected in the world. Period.
And we have everything we need to be developed
Period.
economically. We have everything we need.
If we were not developed economically in Africa, we will never be respected. Do you agree?
Why do we want to own America if we can own Africa?
No, we
That's
need
my
them to
question.
invest.
Why do you want to own America if you can own Africa?
No one is owning America.
Yeah, I mean, like, they don't even want us, like, bro, let's be honest. Let's be honest.
No, I mean that's another debate. I don't.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
I'm just hinting something. I'm just hinting
Let-
something.
Let's get back to China. We were
I was
talking
gonna hint
about
something.
China. Right. What China is doing in Africa. Lending Africa all this money and then getting it back in the sense that, okay, Uganda, let's talk about Uganda recently. China lent them money. They were not able to pay China back, and China threatened to capture their international airport, even though China denied it, but that was the fact. So what China is doing, we have to look historically what China did in Sri Lanka. They lent Sri Lanka the money. Sri Lanka was not able to pay. They took their cost. The Sri Lankan coast right now belongs to China. They control that coast. They have military base there. It's the same thing is going to happen in Africa if we are not careful. The scramble for Africa of 19th century, it's going to happen in the 21st century with China.
China is going to own Africa.
Because China is everywhere in Africa. They have military
Cameroon
bases.
cannot even pay what we owe China.
They have hundreds and thousands of companies in Africa, operating in Africa. They are selling their currencies, they are selling their culture. Eventually, we will all be speaking Mandarin. It's only a matter of time.
I've been told anyway. So,
I say no to that. Even me, I will fight. I will fight.
My take on that. We just wish.
Not speaking no Mandarin.
We just wish diplomacy were more transparent, and people were able to like voice out their own understanding of how some of these treaties are signed, and get a kind of popular understanding of how people. But that's why we elect representatives to be our voices and defend us in those kind of deals. But the problem is we have leaders who keep signing anything that comes across the way, insofar as they can make a little bit of cash from it.
It's political, like I
said.
said.
Yeah, who can make some money from it? Because as I said, right from the start, it's illogical that you sign deals like that and still think that you be
we understand that.
And the truth is, most of those who are signing this thing now are even going to be dead by the time
that we are the one that will live the consequence. Us and our
someone
kids.
is like 7-8 years. They just go to China and borrow 100 billion.
Yeah, he doesn't care. Like,
huh? He doesn't care.
Doesn't
Bro,
care, like.
there have to be accountability in Africa. Honestly, no. I don't know, but somebody has to be. These people have to be held accountable.
I can remember in my country, the president was offering laptops to university students.
Laptop army.
And the laptops all were from China. And
he took a loan from China, then buy the laptops from China.
I took a loan from China.
And then buy the laptops from China.
And then distribute it. That's why I'm saying that we have...
the laptops, they didn't even work.
That's why
they had so many problems.
That's why I'm saying we already have a model that is kind of working. Let's copy Rwanda, for instance. There's no way all the deals are signed to make sure those companies come create those factories in China, come build those infrastructures in China. Sorry.
No, in Rwanda, everything's
they make sure that all the deals are signing with international partners, the citizens from the country are benefiting from them. If they're infrastructure deals, they make sure those companies or those factories
they usually hire African engineers. That's what I like.
That's what I'm saying.
Them,
those factories are built in China. They are employing
Chinese.
They are built in Rwanda. They are employing
Rwandese or Africans.
There. So in that way, even once those companies leave, the indigenous of the country are able to maintain those.
They are
factories.
now trained. They can maintain and continue and carry on. Now the thing with other African countries, let's say for instance in my country, they're building a big gold refinery. Chinese are the construction workers.
Yeah, that
Chinese
they're
are
doing
the
everything.
engineers.
They're doing
Chinese
everything.
are controlling.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That the bad thing is we already know what is bad and we know what is good. I mean, we have something that is already similarly working.
And
already.
they pay them way more than they pay us.
Okay, let me ask you
try to do it. Even if
we already know the problem, right? We acknowledge the problem. Mm-hmm. What would you gentlemen propose as a solution?
I mean, my solution is clear. It's what I've been saying here.
The top has to change.
In this situation, we just need to copy and paste and color it in a different countries or in the different areas, because Rwanda is doing it already. There's no way any country cannot. There's no way a country will develop without having infrastructure debts, because they have to build roads, they have to build bridges.
Right, electricity.
But how do you go about even regular day-to-day life? Say we take debts. Yeah. But how do you go about them? What are the terms of the debt, and what are you benefiting in the long term.
Those are the
from
things
terms.
that our leaders, so-called leaders,
Yes.
have to look before they sign those
Yes.
agreements.
And most of those debts, again, it's like the climate crisis today. We have the
That's
the
another
no,
thing.
I'm not saying I'm not
That's a
linking it
whole
in
big
any way.
topic.
I'm saying
Yeah.
the climate crisis today. We're talking about the climate today because the climate is getting bad, but it's not yet as bad for us. As
We're
it's
only
gonna be-
responsible for
No.
3%.
I mean, no. What I'm saying is, it's not yet as bad for us.
Yeah, as it's going to be
for
100 years from today.
Right.
for our
the
children
Western
and the,
countries.
If we don't start taking
no,
make
for our
a stand right
children
now.
and grandchildren
Right.
or whatever.
Absolutely,
whatever.
we have to start fixing that
So
right
it's
now.
the same thing with these deals that have been signed. These people are signing things. They don't care because by the
signing
time
anything.
by the time the repercussions start coming, they'll be
Mugabe, let's give example of
No, they're
Mugabe.
selfish.
They'll be long dead.
That's
Mugabe
selfish.
signed a deal with, I believe, Indonesia of, I think, $100 billion. He died. Who's going to take care of it
Yeah.
now?
So the kids have to. I mean, the
These people are just selfish. Well, here's my own proposition. I don't like to go too big. I want to stay with individuals. Like, let's try as individuals to even push with this system. I know it's hard. It's not easy to start up a company in Africa and strive it and put it all the way out there. But we can't just give up. We have to keep trying. We have to keep pushing. So I just call on African youth to start it up. Start it up. It's small, yes, I know. Start it up. Just keep pushing with it. Yeah, even if you're not here, your children are going to keep pushing with it. Their own children will push with it. Someday you're going to own something that is going to employ as many people from your tribe as possible. Yeah, I don't want to depend on the government anymore. They failed me over and over and over and over. I'm not going to keep depending on them. You can't keep beating a dead horse. Let them be. But start the small you can. Do it the small you can. Stop focusing on the big things. It's not going to happen overnight. Own it. Start small. That's it for me.
What I would propose, the solution for the problem in Africa is this: we, the diaspora, are the key answer and solution to what is going on in Africa today. Like I was saying earlier, in Nigeria, there's more Nigerian doctors in New York City than there are in Nigeria, right? We are the answer, like you're saying, if we come together,
Absolutely.
right, and organize ourselves and say, okay, we are going to do this for our continent, it will happen.
Absolutely.
All we need is unity.
We need unity.
Because we already know the problem. Our leaders have failed us for decades. They are not going to do nothing. We, the
Forget about them.
diaspora, African diaspora, are the, because look, we're the one even carrying on our countries. You send money to Africa, I send money to Africa, you send money to Africa.
We are the ones actually.
Those money circulating in the country.
We are the ones
right?
actually not
starting
in our
businesses, right? It's
There you go.
right. So we, the diaspora, are the answer
Absolutely.
to the economy.
Do you know
of
how much
Africa.
money we diasporas just send to Africa this December? Christmas?
Billions of dollars a year, like especially now holiday season.
Yeah,
we
you know how
all
much
are
just sent back?
we getting phone calls. Oh,
We're
it's
already doing
holidays.
it. So we
Right.
might as well just do it the right way.
So if we organize, that's why, like, if you guys know the ambassador Chiombori Kwao, the former AU ambassador, if you guys know her, she came up with this website called the ADDI, where like he assembled all African diaspora like to come together and come with a plan on what to do to develop
Absolutely.
Africa. You know, we need something like that. We, the diaspora, are the solution. Nobody else is going to do it.
Just imagine this. If me, you, and Mr. Peter, or maybe two or three more of our friends, we come together and we're like, okay, within the next 10 years, we're going to own a resort somewhere in Africa that's favorable. It doesn't have to be in your country. It doesn't have to be in your country, right? We can be like, okay, we're going to go to Rwanda.
Ghana is the most peaceful country
or
in
Ghana,
Africa.
and we're going to own a resort or a hotel, something big that we want to expand across Africa. We can absolutely pull that. It's not rocket science. We can do it.
Like I said, we are the answer.
That's us now.
Because all Africans Africans in Africa look up to us. Let's be honest. We have brothers and sisters back home who are looking up to us.
Don't even go far. Just look at your family right now.
Right. So we are
You're the man of
answer.
your family right now.
We,
Do it.
the African diaspora living in the diaspora, we are the answer to the economic issue in Africa.
Absolutely.
We have healthcare issue. We have doctors in the diaspora. We have infrastructure deficit. We have engineers in the diaspora. Right? We have whatever issue we have education issue. We have professors and doctors in the diaspora.
There we go.
So
I mean, this is
we can bring the solution.
I'm not saying pack your bags and go back home.
No.
I'm just saying share the knowledge you have, what
Consider.
you've learned here. Share it with your people back home.
You're a doctor, you're an engineer. Go train people. You
Go
don't
train
necessarily
people.
have to live
You don't even have to
there.
go. Zoom.
Go, okay,
Zoom train them.
Okay, so what we can do is what? Okay, the president of Rwanda, for instance, says, I have a project and I need engineers. Okay, let's look in the diaspora. How many engineers do we have? Diaspora, come, I have a job for you. Train your brothers and sisters here how to do this job.
Even if the president
those
doesn't call
will
us,
carry
even
on.
if the president doesn't call
That's
us
all
because
we
they're
need.
not gonna do it. They're not gonna do it. They're puppets. They're not
We
gonna
know
do it.
that. We know that.
Let's
but
just go back and do it.
That's what we need.
I'm not gonna wait for anybody to tell me to develop my father's land.
Infrastructure project in
That's
Ghana.
my father's land. I'm gonna try to develop it.
We have engineers here. We have doctors here.
Absolutely.
We have health issues in our. That's true. We have
Build real estate.
poor healthcare system. We have the doctors.
Open
here
clinics.
in the diaspora. We the African diaspora are the answer to the
Do it.
problem in Africa.
Just do it
All we have to do is get together, unite, organize ourselves,
and then do it.
and see what we can do.
You know what?
You don't necessarily have to pack your bag and move to Africa. Consider going and train people in Africa. Let's say when COVID hit, go there and train people. Here's how you do the rapid testing. Put the thing, the strap in the nose, swab, do that so people can start training each other and create jobs.
Absolutely.
That's what we need. We, the diaspora, are the solution.
Absolutely. We have to unite and we have to go back and do that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for joining us on another episode of the Africa is Home Global Podcast. Today we were just talking about the African economy generally, and we are just trying to figure out ways in which we can better move forward from where we are right now with our economy. And these are some valid points that Mr. Peter and Mr. Jean-Paul brought to us today. So bring in your inputs on this, and on our next podcast we can touch on what everybody has to say. So thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in, and see you next time in the next episode.
Yeah. Thank you, man.